for those keeping track at home, this is my 21st roll. I have rolled over 20 times. I don't know how this could have gone so wrong, but it did. It's okay. We're so close to the end. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra the TBR0, and the time has come where I reveal my TBRathon TBR. If you're new here and you don't know what TBRathon is, it's a month-long readathon for January 2025. I will be sure to have the announcement video linked below, as well as just the announcement video. Then you will have access to everything else under the sun. So start there. In that description, you'll have all of the information you need. But for today, what I need to do is actually perform all of my roles for Paws and Bookshelves. Now, for TBRathon, I have created 3 different challenges. One of them is the Paws and Bookshelves game board. I also have the Booktuber bingo board, and I also have the map, which is the Books of Paradise for mood readers. I do plan on including the bingo board as well as the Books of Paradise in my vlogs when it comes to, reading throughout the month of January. But to set up a preliminary TBR, I thought it made the most sense to actually do the game board. So that's what we'll be doing today. I did pre-record my rolls, so we'll be going back and forth with that footage. But let's just say everything that could go wrong did. And I have so many prompts I have to accomplish. So for those of you who may kind of be resenting Paws and Bookshelves at the moment, please know that its creator is also suffering. And without further ado, let's see what my first roll was. All right, we are getting ready for my first roll, but I need to explain a few things. First and foremost, I have my Paws and Bookshelves. I've chosen my icon, my little pawn. It is a ghost. I'm putting them on the Start Here button. I have chosen a D6. You can do a higher die or more than one dice, but I've decided to go with the tried and true classic. I also have a bunch of these little stickers that are snowflakes, and I plan on covering the prompts as I get them. I don't even know how many I have here. I don't imagine I'll need them all, but this is what we're doing. So let's do my first roll. Ooh, a 6. All right, show it to the camera, show it to the people at home. I'm gonna take my ghosty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, and I'm getting the Yorkshire Terrier. For my first roll, I did get a big number, 6, and that landed me on less than 300 pages. This also would earn me the Yorkshire Terrier, so I'm already collecting a dog. For this prompt, I decided to fulfill it with a necessary required read for January, and that is The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. This is actually going to be February's pick for the Not Reading for Content Book Club podcast that I now host with Danny. If you're interested, that will be linked below. And obviously, because we're the hosts and we need to get the videos ready ahead of time, the episodes ready ahead of time, we have to read the book a month ahead. And this one has 234 pages, so it's going to be a nice, quick, short sci-fi horror, and also a classic, because this year one of my goals was to actually read more sci-fi, and I think that including a classic work is just a great way to start off the year. Feel free to join me and Danny in reading this book, if not in January, in February, so that with every episode that comes out, you can see what we thought about the book and also just have a really good time, hopefully with a classic that we all love. Okay, roll number 2 was a 4. It's not bad. Okay. And that landed me on 2025 goal. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Again, we are making steady progress. I ended up rolling a 4, landing me on 2025 goal. Now, this could be a life goal or reading goal. It doesn't necessarily have to equate to reading a specific book, but that's how I'm going to be interpreting it. And one of my 2025 goals, as mentioned with the first roll, is to read more sci-fi. Since I already have a classic sci-fi horror genre blend on my TBR, I decided to pivot and add How to Steal a Galaxy by Beth Revis. Now, this is the second book in an ongoing series. I actually don't know what the series is called. The first one is called Full Speed to a Crash Landing. They're novellas, they're kind of space opera, heist in space scenarios. I was pleasantly surprised by how fun I found the first book, and this is a sci-fi romance. The main plots tend to be surrounding this, thief, this intergalactic thief, but she does end up starting a romance in the first book with this guy who's basically trying to catch her. It's a very fun cat and mouse type of romance to my understanding, and this is meant to be a trilogy. I'm very excited to continue it. So yeah, I'm going to continue a series as well, which is very exciting. A 3! Okay, I didn't even realize how close I was to that pile of books, but we just jumped over it. And now we've got our next prompt. And with roll number 3, I rolled a 3, landing me on blue cover. And this one would seem at first glance to be super easy, but I realized I didn't have too many blue covers of books that I really have to read for January until I realized that there is one that is a priority read for one of my Manor book clubs, only Christy in the book club. In January, we are reading The Pale Horse, and I am very fortunate to be having a special edition. So yes, the slipcover is blue, but I would argue this is a pretty blue cover as well. Now, they're kind of darkish blues, like almost gray, and actually, what a great cover this is, by the way. So yes, I will be reading The Pale Horse. I'm excited because this is one of the Christies that I haven't read myself. For only Christy in the book club, we've kind of gone 50-50 so far, where every other month I am rereading a Christy. I'm not mad about it, but I'm very excited that I get to experience this one for the first time with my top tier sleuths. And for those interested, this is a Folio Society edition coming with full page artwork, and it really is just gorgeous editions. I can't wait to be reading it. Okay, rolling again. Oh my gosh, my second 6. And that means we're well over halfway across this board, because I have just gone over that second turn of 3, looking pretty good. Roll number 4 gave me another big number, which was 6. I'm telling you, there were times I questioned whether I should be doing like a D12 or a higher die, maybe using 2 dice, but so far everything's gone pretty well. Spoiler alert, it will turn. There will be a change in the weather, but for now we have blue skies. And like I said, I rolled a 6, landing me on a... Sorry, I short-circuited for a second. I ended up getting cold cover, I was right, and I ended up deciding to reuse a book that I have already selected for my TBR, How to Steal a Galaxy. At this point, it is important to let you all know that I have allowed myself to double up. I am letting myself use a book to fulfill at most 2 prompts. That's my limit. If you would rather have a book count for 3 prompts, or if you're rolling as you go and you'd rather count for past books that you've already read throughout the month, that's totally fine. But as I said, I'm going to be doing 2 prompts per book if I can. And so with How to Steal a Galaxy, I've just used my second prompt, and now that book cannot be used again. I just realized I never told you why this is for cold cover. It's because space is cold. I know, I'm so clever, but that's why. How to Steal a Ugh, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, let's get back to the video. I got a 2, which means I got my second dog. So exciting. 1, 2, a dachshund. What a cutie. Yes, I landed on my second dog for the board, and weirdly enough, it's another small breed, a dachshund. And for this, I have to read a book with a title that contains D, O, and G within it. This was actually hard as well. I found out that while creating my TBR, there was only one book that I wanted to read in January that had a G and a D and an O in the title. I think the G is probably the hardest letter to find for some reason, but fortunately it's also a buddy read. I will be reading A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, and I get to buddy read it with Julie from Keep Calm with Books and Coffee, as well as Krista from Books and Jams. I confirmed with the 2 of them. It's going to be planned for the second half of January, and really I've only heard good things about this. I think I'm gonna love it. I also can see Krista and Julie loving it too, because it gives me historical fantasy vibes. Krista loves historical fiction, and then Julie, among the three of us, is our resident fantasy reader. So I think this is going to be a really successful buddy read, which is perfect because in January we only want good reads. But also DNFing is fine. If you need to DNF a book for yourself because you're not enjoying it, do it. Time for our 6th roll. It's not very big. A mood read. Okay, I'll admit that with our 6th roll, we did lose some steam because I rolled a 2 before, now I've rolled a 1. Fortunately, it's a prompt that I'm really happy with because of how flexible it is, and that is a mood read. So with the mood read, I've realized that I am in the mood to just read another Adrian Tchaikovsky book. I read Service Model this week. I read Service Model this week with Danny Dabbles. Both of us adored that book so much. We gave it 5 stars. So I've decided for my mood read to be Alien Clay. I have no idea what this book is about. I don't want to know what it's about, and I'm just going to go in blind. I'm assuming there's aliens because the name. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about this one. Oh my gosh. My 2nd one in a row. At least it's another easy prompt. Comfort read it is. Another one. Will we ever reach the end? I have no idea. But for this one, again, not mad at the fact that I have landed on a prompt that is very easy and comforting. Hence why it's called comfort genre. And for this one, I've decided to again double up with 1 book and 2 prompts. And I am going with Pale Horse. Because a comfort genre for me is mystery, a comfort subgenre for me is golden age detective fiction, so it just made sense to double up with this prompt. You may have noticed I did land at the bottom of a ladder, meaning that I have the choice. I can climb the ladder and reach whatever prompt it's leading me to, or I can say, you know what, I'm going to take my chances with the die and see if I roll something, I don't know, better, further. What I decided to do was take the ladder because I wanted to take advantage of this perk, and that means I ended up landing on, after completing comfort genre, I went up the ladder to any bingo prompt. And for this one, again, I decided to rely on my list of priority reads for January, specifically my buddy reads or book club choices. And so for the bingo prompt, I'm going with Beatrice's Book Nook. She went with translation for her designated prompt. And so I have a translation I need to read anyways. I've decided to go with the Honjin Murders by Seshi Yokomizo. This is actually a Hankaku mystery known as a golden age detective fiction, but based in Japan by Japanese authors of the 20th century. And I have been so intrigued by this title, specifically this kind of sub area of mysteries. And you know who's joining me on this journey? Kirsten from The Reading Nymph. She mentioned that this is a book she wants to read for her winter TBR, and I was like, wait a second. I need to read this too. It's on my own TBR. I need motivation. Can you be that for me? And Kirsten said yes. So we're going to be reading this together in the first half of January. Okay, all I need to do is not get a 4. Well, I got a 4. So that means I landed... Focus. Okay, 4. That means I ended up getting to timber. We know what that means. I warned you all that this was going to go south. I ended up rolling a 4, and that got me 1 square away from the finish line. I landed on timber, meaning that I had to follow the following books to lowest rated. For this, if you do land on this square, you can either pick the lowest rated from a want to read list, from Goodreads, Storygraph. If you happen to have a spreadsheet or you know what the lowest rated book of your physically owned TBR is, perfect. Read that book. For me, I've interpreted it for my priority reads of January. I have a stack. I know I've got to read them in January no matter what. And I decided to choose the book that has the lowest rating among that stack for this prompt. And that was actually the book voted for me by The Manor to add to my January TBR, The Red Widow Murders by John Dixon Carr. So this has a rating of 3.62, I believe, which isn't terrible, but it's also not great and not making me too excited about this read. With that said, I've had good experiences with John Dixon Carr in the past. I ended up reading The Eight of Swords a couple years ago and had a ball, actually. I found him hilarious, and the mystery was really intriguing. He's known for locked room mysteries, which can be hit or miss for me, so we'll see what happens. hopefully my rating ends up being higher than the average that everyone else has decided for this. Ooh, number 6. Okay, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a prompt I've already done. So I'm going to roll again and see what we get. A 1. Okay, perfect. It's going to be a book rec. I can work with that. To make up for that setback, I did end up rolling another big number, which was a 6. However, I landed on comfort read, and because I've already received that prompt once on this board, I've decided I'm not going to be repeating prompts, and I rolled again, getting a 1. Now, you're going to ask me, Leandra, why didn't you climb the ladder again? Because I'm dumb. Because I thought that I shouldn't take advantage of it a second time, and that's where I made a mistake. That's where I really made a mistake, and you'll see what happens. So I ended up rolling a 1. I got book rec, and for this one I decided to double up on A Natural History of Dragons, because this is a book that's been recommended to me for over a year by Danny Dabbles. I've actually borrowed this book a couple of times from the library, returned it, not read. So at this point I need to read this book. So now it's going to be fulfilling 2 prompts, which is perfect. I've got the fact that it's a buddy read, which is also motivating me. I'll be reading this in January if it kills me. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I can work with that. 1, 2, 3, cold word in the title. All right, so we rolled a 3. Meaning I'm still making progress. I'm still climbing those bookshelves to the uppermost section. However, I do have to fulfill another prompt, and that is cold word in the title. For this one, I have a handful of books that actually do very clearly, directly fit the idea of a cold word, but I didn't want to read any of them. And I really, really want to make sure that my January TBR is only filled with books that I am determined and motivated to read. So I have interpreted it very vaguely. And the cold word I've chosen is murder. So I've doubled up on prompts for the Red Widow murders, because let's be honest, murder, cold-blooded. These killers out there, they are not warm. they're not heartwarming, they're not kind. They're cold-blooded murderers. Murder's a cold business. So, come at me in the comments if you think that I've misinterpreted this prompt. But you know what? I'm also the host. I'm allowed to do whatever I want, and this is going to be my cold word. The end is in sight. But so far away. Okay, we got a 3. Timber, I'm back to lowest rated. It's gonna be okay. Since I'm not repeating prompts, I'm just gonna go again and see what we get. A 2. Okay, again, I've already done this. I think that one's like a cold cover or something. Okay, 3. You know what? I don't mind landing on the prompts that we've already gotten. That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna lose my mind. I ended up getting a 3. A long drop it is. 400 plus pages. Okay. So we went on a bit of a journey for that one, because I had to roll so many times before I actually landed on a new prompt for me. But also, I ended up hitting 2 different precarious TBR piles. So first and foremost, again, we're trying to reach the finish line. I roll a 3 and I get Timber, landing on lowest rated again. Then I roll a 3, I got cold cover, roll 3, mood read. I just keep hitting the same prompts over and over. And I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad, because I'm still making progress. We're gonna be fine, until I rolled another 3. And then I ended up getting a long drop, and I went all the way down, nearly to like the beginning of the board again. And I ended up getting 400 plus pages. So for that one, I guess I'm lucky that I have another priority read to fulfill this prompt, and that's going to be Empire of the Vampire. I think it's by Jay Kristoff. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? I am reading this with 3 other individuals, so it's a bit of a group buddy read situation. We've got Danny Dabbles, Nell Diamond, and Rainy Blue Reads. And this is a really chonky fantasy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite intimidated by this title, but I'm glad that I have friends to be reading it with, and we're thinking we're probably gonna start this mid-January. All right, friends, at this point, I'm determined. We're only gonna make progressive movements. No more falling books, okay? No more falling books. At this point, I have lost track of how many I'm actually been rolling. So, you know, roll number umpteenth time. You have got to be kidding me. Is that really 1, 2, 3, 4? My 4th precarious TBR pile. I think that the 4th time. We're at the start of the board again. We are starting over. So I rolled a 4 and I ended up landing on another pile of books. And I fell all the way down to the first square of the game. Remember when we were all the way at the top multiple times? Well, now we're at the very bottom, meaning I have to go all the way back up to the top again. And first and foremost, I have to fulfill the prompt of an avoided author. That author is going to be none other than Rebecca Yarros. I will be reading Fourth Wing. This is a book that I did already have planned for my January TBR, mainly because I want to do a full spoiler vlog in which I hold nothing back, read the entire thing, and honestly just have a good time. Will there be ups and downs? 100%. But I think it's the perfect storm because also the 3rd book is coming out pretty soon. Is it called Onyx Storm? I also realized that this author will be coming to a bookstore in my area, and I just think that would be really fun if I was able to go meet her. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But this is definitely the perfect book for that prompt because everyone and their mother loves this author, loves this book, and I've kind of been avoiding the hype for maybe too long at this point. So yeah, we're gonna try it. Of course, I get a 1 because why would I want to make a lot of progress? Ay. Slow progress is still progress. I rolled a 1 and I landed on odd number of pages. I'm doubling up for this as well with the Honjin murders because it has 189 pages. Shout out again to Kirsten for allowing this to be on my TBR because it's fitting quite a few prompts. Okay, rolling again. That is what I'm talking about, a 5. I feel like I haven't seen a big number in a long time, and now we're doing a debut author. We are rallying. We ended up getting a 5. I like seeing those big numbers again, and I landed on debut author. For this one, I had to grab a different book because I realized that none of the books I have already chosen, I'm pretty sure, are any of the author's debuts, but I had a readily available title that I meant to read in 2024, didn't get to it, so here we are. This Cursed House by Del Sandine. I absolutely love a haunted house setting. The fact that this one is Southern Gothic makes me a bit hesitant. I typically don't like the Southern Gothic, but I'm just too intrigued and I really do want to read this. Plus, you know, we want to support debut authors, so this feels like the perfect fit for me. Okay, Leandra, we rolled a big number once. We can do it again. You can do it. You know what? I'll take it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5-star prediction. Come on, baby. So I ended up getting to the top of a ladder, not by climbing it, but you know what? I'm not complaining, and I got 5-star prediction. For this one, I already had a book on my TBR pile that I really think has a great chance of being a 5-star, and that is Alien Clay. Like I said before, I just gave Service Model 5 stars, so right now my expectations for this author are really high, which can hurt him, but I think I'm gonna love it. Rolling again. Let's do it. Okay. Landing on another snowflake. Look at all of the snowflakes, by the way. I have so many. And we're going to add another. I got a 2. Okay. Focus. Whatever. 1, 2. Recent buy or borrow. We rolled a 2. Again, very small, not ideal, but I ended up getting recent buy or borrow. Now this could also extend to like a recent NetGalley arc, physical arc, maybe a recent gift because the holiday season is upon us. But for me, I plan on borrowing Empire of the Vampire, not yet. Like, I don't actually even have access to it. I plan on probably borrowing it at the beginning of January in anticipation of that buddy read. So it will likely be my most recent borrow from the library. So I'm gonna count it for this one. Okay, let's do it again. A 5. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any Books of Paradise prompt? Perfect. For those keeping track at home, this is my 21st roll. I have rolled over 20 times. I don't know how this could have gone so wrong, but it did. It's okay. We're so close to the end. I got a 5, which is okay. We like those big numbers. And I landed on a very easy prompt, a prompt that allows me to highlight one of the other challenges of TBRathon. I already was able to highlight the Booktuber Bingo, but now I get to choose any prompt from Books of Paradise. For this one, I decided to go with Land Ho, which is actually associated with a new to you author. Perfect, because This Cursed House by Del Sandine is not only a debut author, but she's obviously new to me because she's a debut author, and this is the only book she's ever published. So perfect, we'll take it. I've just doubled up on this book and now I can't use it again. Thank you, book gods. 1, 2, 3. I'm at the bottom of a ladder and I'm climbing it this time. I will not make the same mistake twice. I refuse, because if I fell again to 400 plus pages, we would go insane. Crossing my fingers. Come on, friends. We can do it. Six. I don't need any further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at me. Look at them all dance. They're so excited and I am exhausted. Yay. We've reached the finish line. Did any of you ever think that this would happen? Because there was a moment where I thought I was just going to be living in Paws and Bookshelves for the rest of my life. I'm so relieved that I got a really big number, rolled a 6. It far exceeds the number I needed to reach the finish line, and I'm not someone who's going to be requiring you to get the exact number unless you want that challenge. For me, I got enough prompts. I'm fine, had a good time, outstayed my welcome, if we're going to be honest, and I'm happy to be done. I was also really actually fortunate to be able to only have 10 books added to my TBR for this month, because I really want 2025 to be the year where I make realistic TBRs and realistic, comfortable TBRs. Could I read like 15, 20 books in a month? Sure, I've done it in 2024. Do I want that to be the scenario? No. I think 10 should try to be my cap when possible. So I'm just really pleased. And I'm also pleased with the variety. I think I have 3 fantasy, 3 mystery, 2 sci-fi, and maybe a horror. Yeah, I think I said that right. 3 mystery, 3 sci-fi, 3 fantasy, and 1 horror. There are a few genre blends in there, like a romantasy, a sci-fi horror, but you get the gist. I'm really pleased with how balanced that is. I love that I also have a variety of lengths. I have some chunkier reads, at least chunky for me, Fourth Wing, Empire of the Vampire, but I also have quite a few novellas. For instance, How to Steal a Galaxy, The Honjin Murders is quite short, as is The Day of the Triffids. So we're doing a great job. I'm so excited for TBRathon, so excited for January 2025. If you're as excited as I am, please be sure to let me know in the comments below. But if you're not feeling super chatty, maybe in honor of Paws and Bookshelves, just do dogs, ladders, blue emojis, and I'll know that you were here. Thank you to my Manor guests as well. We've had quite a few new people join, Audrey, Kaya, as well as Kirsten. I'm so grateful to all of you, whether you're a sleuth, a witness, a suspect, or a ice cold corpse. Thank you all so much. Hope to see you in January 2025, and have a great day.